I don't think my phone has enough battery for all this, so I'm going to try my best. But literally, as I was on the way here, I saw a possum on the road that was KIA. Rest in peace to him. But just kind of reminded me that, like, life is short. It took a dead possum, or took roadkill possum for me to remember that life is short and, like, nothing is promised. But I like yapping in my car, and it's hot outside, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. But this all basically just sums up to, and I'm going to be so, if I start crying while recording this, I'm going to be so mad. But basically, and then someone might call me. Hold on. Anyway, basically, it's not fun. This isn't fun. And it's supposed to be fun to an extent. And so I thought I should sit back and kind of, I like to talk out loud and I like to talk through things because I feel like it helps me get to the problem. And I've been thinking about this problem for 2 weeks now. I've talked about it with some people, and just been diving really deep in with other people. I mean, with myself. And it's not fun. And by it, I mean music. And it's the striving for perfection that's not fun. When I first started doing this, like, making my first, like, loops and stuff, I was really excited because they sounded cool to me. And then when I couldn't find things that sounded like them that I thought were already cool, like songs that were already cool that didn't sound like it, I started to get concerned. And I've talked to a lot of people about it, and the main thing that I've heard is that it should be fun. And if it's not fun, what are you doing it for? And so I think I decided to kind of sit back and go back to the why. You know, I asked my friends, you know, why they make music. Well, one friend in particular, a fellow artist, why she makes music. And I love music, right? Like, music has been there for me through everything. And I love performing. And I think it's my love for performing first and watching performers that I really admire. Growing up, I was into a lot of Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson. Like, I had I had Janet Jackson music videos, like, on repeat in my house, and a lot of Janet more than anything. Grew up on a lot of Rihanna, like, VMA performances and stuff, and so I grew up with performers. And I was a dancer as a kid, and I did a lot of dance growing up, a little bit. And then I was really into K-pop in high school and college. So a lot of my connection to music on one end has been performers. And so I would watch performers and be like, I want to do that. And initially I thought I wanted to dance. I was like, that's just what I wanted to do. I thought dance was it, but come to realize I wanted to perform. And I knew I wanted to make my own music, but I was a performer first. I guess I sang a lot as a kid, but in chorus and stuff like that, I took singing lessons and stuff. I did violin, but I wasn't, like, I guess chorus trained in middle school counts, but I think the first thing that probably came was instruments, then singing, then dance. And dance was the longest one, and dance was the one I got the best at. Performing was what I got the best at. Singing with intention to be to refine it came later, but dancing was the one that I kind of actually, well, instruments, I strove to perfect my violin skills earlier on in my age, but dancing, I'm sweating, it's hot. Dancing, I think was the first thing that I really, like, sat and strove towards. seriously. I thought I wanted to be a professional dancer, and it was hard. I compared myself a lot to people. I dove really deep into it. I took classes a lot. In 1 week, sometimes I took 4 classes. Sometimes I took intensives and stuff like that. And then I think somewhere along the way, I was like, actually, no, I want to be an artist and make music, because why did I make that switch? It wasn't because I didn't think I could be a professional dancer. It wasn't because because at first I wanted to be a tour dancer, or a backup dancer. I wasn't too focused at the time on making my own choreography. I just liked to freestyle, I think, at the time. And I don't know why, but I was just like, I want to perform on stage. I want to perform songs. And like I'd written songs as a kid. Like when I watched Hannah Montana and stuff, I would write my own songs. And even now when I make music, the thing I tell my producer is I have to be able to imagine myself performing this. And that doesn't mean it has to have a choreography, or it has to have a dance. There just has to be something that I feel that makes me want to move and express it. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. But right now, the pressure to perfect is rough, and the lack of why am I doing this? It's supposed to be fun. When I really first started playing around in Logic, I had so much fun. And now I'm trying to figure out what changed and why, because I have a goal to release a single a month till the end of this year. And I'm stuck now because I'm stuck now because I'm not having fun. I'm really having a hard time. I have a song coming out next week. I'm having this release process and all the perfectionism behind it, and the stress behind releasing something, and wondering if it could have been more, and holding back a lot of projects because I feel like they could be more, and the stress of wanting it to be more but not knowing how to make it more, and how to make it sound like what it sounds like in my head. And I used to have this issue with painting, because sometimes I have an image in my head when I'm about to start a painting that I'll sketch out, and then as I paint, maybe because of technique or what have you, it doesn't look the way I want it to look, and I get really frustrated. There's an idea in my head that I don't have the proper tools to execute, or the verbiage to express how I need it to sound, and I don't know. I can't pull it out my head and say, this is what it needs to sound like. And I only know so much about, production and stuff like that to say this is what it should sound like, other than just like playing a reference track and being like, it should sound like this. So I've got these projects, and they're good. They're good songs, but they're not something, I don't know what's going on. And I've never had this kind of block before. And I'm thinking of taking a step back, still releasing a song a month, but taking a step back and really refining what it is I'm doing this for. I know I want to perform more than anything. I want to perform music. I love music. I want to express and experience music. And I want people to, my biggest thing that I used to write when I used to write down my manifest about being an artist, and I can't believe I forgot this, but music has made me feel so much, so deeply, and I want the music I make to do the same for other people. I want them to feel what I feel when I listen to songs that I love, or songs that bring me to life, essentially. And I'm at this point where that push to make it sound like that, to make it, my friend was like, you're pushing to be perfect, and that's why you're constantly disappointed or you're stuck, because perfection doesn't exist. And she's right. But I decided I needed to go back and figure out why I was doing this in the first place, and when it stopped being fun for me, because a lot of artists that I follow have such a passion for making music, and if you don't have that for the right reasons, it's not gonna be good. So yes, my phone ran out of space and I had to change because I have to go somewhere soon. But before I go there, I just wanted to finish what I was talking about before my phone decided that it didn't care about me anymore. So while my phone was clearing up space, while my phone was clearing up space, I took the time to sit and think about this, like really think about it. And I went back in my journal and I reread some things that I wrote about when I like fully decided I wanted to be an artist, like an actual musician and stuff. And one of the things that I wrote is that I want to connect with people. And the biggest thing that I wrote, the first thing that I wrote, is I want to make music that makes me feel, that makes other people feel the way music makes me feel. And I wanted to make music that I was proud of. And that was the biggest thing that I kept writing. And that seems like a very good why to me. I think proud of is very important, and the feeling, the connection is very important. So I think music makes me feel good, and I want the music I make to make me feel good first and foremost. And as long as it makes me feel good, I think that should be it. I think I'm too stressed and focused about the perception of it. And another thing that I realized is I got a new job, and I thought, and I'm surprised at myself for this, but I thought that now that I have the money to pay for the studio sessions and the money to pay for the photo shoots and possibly music videos and things like that, that everything else would just fall into line and the music would just somehow become great now that I can funnel, my money from my job into it. Because before I couldn't pay for any of those things. So that's what I thought. And I think expectations will really ruin you, because when I couldn't funnel anything into it, I was just making, without the thought of like where it would go. I just knew I wanted to make stuff. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm putting all of this into it. It should become great at this point. And that's not how it works. I was very surprised to realize that that's what I was feeling, and that those expectations were causing me stress, because I'm still not, I'll feel it soon, but I'm still not feeling exactly what I'm looking for. And so I think there was a disconnect, because my brain was like, oh, well, we should be there. We should be hitting the road. Like everything should be good, and everything's not good. And why is that? Well, my top whys, my top pillars are, I have to feel something from it, and it's gotta make me feel the way music always makes me feel, and I've got to connect with it. And it wasn't fun. That kind of pressure wasn't fun. Those kinds of expectations aren't fun. And so also, I think once you start putting so much money into things, that it becomes like, it's like the sunken cost fallacy. Like, dang, I put all this into it. It's gotta be good. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad I realized this. I'm surprised at myself, because I would have thought I knew better. But life. We learn and we grow. But I'm glad I went through my journals and I read my whys again. I want to connect. I want to make people feel how the things that music took me through and the way it makes me feel, like just the joy or even the sadness, the way I feel like I'm not alone. I want that for other people, and I want that for me. I want it to come from me. Like, all these people that make such beautiful, amazing art, they're expressing themselves wholly and fully. That's what I want to do for me. I want, to see what kind of sounds and like worlds I can create for me, and how it, brings people together, what kind of people it brings together, make people feel less alone, make me feel less alone. I don't know. So yeah, I did some deep diving, mainly because I didn't want to go to my friend's place and like he took one look at me and I start crying. And he's like, what's wrong? But also because I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm done. Like I know my friends don't care. I know they'll sit down and talk with me about this dilemma, as they've been doing for the past 2 weeks. I keep texting them and calling them and being like, yo, like, guys, I'm stressed about music. And they're like, okay, like, let's talk about it. My producer, my creative director, my musician friends, like, they'll talk to me as much as I need to get it out, but I get tired of it sometimes. And so there's this loop I've been listening to over and over. And this whole time I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Like, do I take a step back? Like, do I just release what I have right now and just make it work? Like, no, like, find what I'm feeling and do that. And it'll work itself out. But I have to feel something first, regardless. That's not negotiable. And it has to be fun. It has to be fun. So yeah. I think I've gotten pretty, to the root of it now, but I had to find my why again. Why is because music makes me feel alive, and I want to make music that feels like that. It just feels good. Whatever that sounds like for me. Yeah. So I gotta go. Yeah. Maybe I'll have other revelations soon. Who knows? But it wasn't fun anymore, and I had to find a way to make it fun again, because it means so much to me. It should be fun. There are hard processes, of course, getting better, making mistakes, new techniques, learning, growing, becoming better by figuring out what needs to be improved upon, things like that. Those are hard steps and stuff, but the process should be enjoyable, and it wasn't enjoyable. But I think it will be now. So this song comes out on Friday. I'm gonna try and put out a video about like the conception of it. I didn't record as much as I could. I think the one that I'm about to do now, I'm gonna record as much as possible for it. So yeah, I'm excited to release it, to work on it, but the right way, I think. Yeah, okay, all right. Before my phone runs out of storage, I gotta go too because there's traffic. I really like talking in my car. It's really fun. Also, I think my neighborhood, the kids are coming home and they're gonna start screaming, so I really can't record them. But hopefully this is the end of this, and my perfectionism gets out of my own way, and I just have fun and make music I like. Above all, man, music that I like. Not to say that I haven't been, but I think I was starting to think too much about what other people would think when they heard it, and that's not the point. All that matters is what I think. I'm the artist, within reason, but for right now, like, yeah, I have to feel it first, because I'm gonna be performing it, and it's not like I gotta go, but it's not like, I'm in a position where someone is, I'm in bound to making music that people throw at me without my, you know, approval or anything like that. Like, it's all my choice, so I should be doing and making what I love, and having fun. All right, now I gotta go.